Sean Stein-Smith, teach over at Lehman College. So just a brief note about me, and here's obviously the main items I'm going to try to focus on, right? But just a brief note about me. I just very recently, in the last 18 months or so, moved into higher ed, full time. And then before that, I was actually working in industry as a corporate accountant and corporate finance person. I had my CPA and all of that. So then that's how I tend to view all of these topics, higher ed, and actually trying to link what I'm covering to both actually headlines out there in the market, and actually then I always try to give students opportunities to actually learn about these things in a hands-on manner. I'm not really big on the abstract ideas. So, all right. So, blockchain and AI. I'm gonna start here for a second. So, who here is confident in actually having a conversation at what these tools are? Blockchain, AI. All right, a couple people. Two more hands up than I thought. So there is a ton of confusion out there. So I do want to emphasize during this presentation, and if there are any questions afterwards, I am more than happy to answer them and to have our conversation go forward. But there is a lot of confusion going on, both on our side, on the educator side, and on the side of our students. All of them have heard about Bitcoin, but the actual underlying platform that is actually driving all that and that has all of the upside really for other applications is not quite as understood. So, and again, I tend to focus on these things from an accounting and finance point of view. That's my background. But I do think that if you are teaching classes in really any of the science, tech, engineering, math areas, all of these topics are actually a good idea. Introduced and to be sort of talked about at the very least a high level. And I would argue, and I do get some pushback sometimes, that it really isn't ever too early to have these conversations, right? Because the only way to understand an entirely new asset class like cryptocurrencies or a whole new field like AI is to actually have these conversations and to have them over and over again and to build on those conversations. Like anything else, you aren't able to do algebra if you can't add, and you aren't going to be able to actually use blockchain if you don't understand what it actually is. So now, I know that I had promised to focus on VoiceThread, but as I was thinking about this presentation, and also I think trying to link it to headlines going on in the marketplace, I decided to more emphasize the actual characteristics of the ideas as opposed to the tools, right? Because there are tons of great tools out there. If you guys missed the earlier presentation by my colleague, now it's from 10 until 10:25, don't worry, email her. She's the best. I know Lehman College offers their own boot camp on this platform, VoiceThread. And really, just some quick notes about this. I like to talk. I like having a ongoing dialogue. I'm a very interactive person. So I really did enjoy using this tool because it allows me to actually post videos of myself going over any PowerPoint slides that I upload, right? I can post myself in the little box up in that top corner. I can narrate the PowerPoint. I can point out things, and the students can actually hear my voice and actually see me, which I always think helps. Especially if you're trying to analyze or explain a idea or topic that is a little technical or confusing. I do think having that extra layer of information and of contact helps. And if you ever have the opportunity, take the bootcamp. It's a ton of work. I'm warning you right now, a ton of work, but it's so worth it. I mean, in that bootcamp, you are asked to actually upload videos, post comments in a text format, upload all kinds of files, PDFs, import data from external sources and off your own computer, and to then post video comments on other posts. So it's a really comprehensive tool, comprehensive workshop. And so I really like the idea of actually being able to post a video comment to actually add some extra narration onto the PowerPoint slide, right? Because I think we all know that a PowerPoint slide can be dry sometimes. I know, it's shocking. But a PowerPoint slide can be boring if you're just up here and you're droning on and on about it. Well, there's no extra content or narration going on with that presentation. So if you're able to add that little extra layer of interest, I think, especially in an area that is hard to understand or that is abstract in nature, it's almost like, and I think I have it here, it's almost like doing a call via FaceTime or via Skype as opposed to only doing it on the phone. So it just adds that extra layer of interpersonal connection, which I think is always a good thing and important. Okay, so here's what I love talking about. When I'm not here doing this, I'm out there working on this stuff. I work with every accounting group in our area, Pennsylvania, Jersey, this state, AICPA. I do a ton of work with them. I do research presentations. I work with their experts to help build out platforms and actually build this stuff out for them to then implement. So, does everybody know what this guy is over here? Little B. What does that stand for? Bitcoin. All right, good. Anybody in here own Bitcoin? No? Guys, come on. Okay. So, again, I always like to try to focus on the fundamentals, right? Because any tool that's used, it could be VoiceThread, it could be any other video tool, it could be a capture tool, it could be anything. But the tools themselves aren't going to help you actually handle the educational part of it if you don't understand these core concepts on your end, and you aren't able to actually bring these core concepts into the class, right? Because basically, and again, I'm focusing on the accounting side, that's my deal, but it really can be used for any business or any industry that has any sort of digital information. And if you think for just a minute here, every single business and every single industry deals with digital information. Amazon, Google, Facebook, Netflix, McDonald's, all of them have digital information, both internally and our own information. So if you're going to cover this topic, it's important to emphasize really all of that too. Artificial intelligence, I've always found, is one of those topics that everyone sort of thinks they know about and thinks they understand what it means, but everybody thinks it's a Terminator, basically, right? Whereas basically all that AI is, at the end of it, is a computer program or a host of programs that enables the computer to then do tasks for you. It's all that it basically is. It can be more complicated or it can be less complicated. If you are on an iPhone here today, there's an AI tool already in there. It's called Siri, right? So it's already out there, so it's not as abstract or as complicated as it might initially appear in conversation. But again, it is really important, I think, if we're trying to integrate these topics into the classroom. And again, it can be in person, online, it can be in a live stream video or in a PowerPoint slide. It's important to hammer home on these core elements to help our students understand what they're actually hearing about when they go home and turn on, whatever, or they hear it in some other classes. Cryptocurrency, what everybody wants to know about, and it's impossible to have a conversation about blockchain or about AI without mentioning cryptocurrencies, right? So basically, this right here is the important point to always start with in any conversation about cryptocurrencies and blockchain. In order to actually exist and to run, every single cryptocurrency needs to run on a blockchain, right? So if you're thinking about blockchain is that internet platform, right? It's that underlying IT platform. And all of these cryptocurrencies, it can be Bitcoin, it can be Litecoin, any of those currencies, right? All of those are applications that are going to run on the blockchain. So if blockchain is the internet, Bitcoin is Facebook. It's an application running on that platform. And right here, that's an important point to introduce and to then reiterate. That's a point that a lot of people, both in school, out of school, on TV, get confused quite often. So blockchain breakdown. So how can we actually teach a topic, right? Whether it's online, whether it's with a voice thread type tool, or if it's in person, if we don't understand what we're actually trying to cover. And I do just want to point out that the idea of a blockchain is a highly, I think, technical idea. It's a highly complicated topic, but and it's very easy then to get lost in that jargon, right? It's super easy to get lost and buried in the weeds, but if you actually peel back some of those layers, hold on, all right, I'll come back to that guy. Hold on. If we actually peel back some of those layers, it's actually not as bad as you might think, right? And I'll come back to these core concepts in a second. So AI, right? That's what everybody thinks about when they hear AI, right? HAL from that movie, yeah, exactly, 2001, or AI, that's the Terminator. But again, if you're trying to introduce this topic, and obviously, not every student is going to come in with the equal background knowledge on these topics, right? So that's why it's especially important to really illustrate and to really hammer home what exactly AI is and then what it isn't. So AI is not this. All that AI is, it's basically an app on your phone that helps you automate work you don't want to do. Right? Booking appointments, answering emails, all of those functions are probably where AI is the most prevalent right now. The blockchain terms to cover. Now, I can stand up here for 8 hours and do all of these. I won't. I promise, because I only have 25 minutes. But if we're talking about how to actually bridge these tools and bring them into your courses, and it's important to do it in phases, right? In pieces during your course. But there are all of these terms to cover, and I'm going to dive into a few of them right now. So I won't dwell on this. Basically, after information is uploaded onto the blockchain, it is going to be on that blockchain forever. It cannot be edited. It cannot be taken down. I can go and I can upload more information that'll then reverse that entry. But after information is uploaded, it's a permanent record. It would be as if I took a permanent marker and I was writing here, right? It'd be on there forever. Has happened previously to me, actually, by the way. Yes, sir. Yes. Encrypted Wikipedia. That's yeah. At a high level, yeah. Now it would only be that way though if it was on a public blockchain, totally open. But yeah, yep, that works. And so all of that information, which is going to be permanent, by the way, has to be approved, and the actual options on how that data is approved, it can vary, right? There are a whole bunch of options out there. After it's been approved, it's uploaded, and it's going to be on there forever. After all that's happened, then it's actually pinged out to everybody else who is in that network. And when you're talking about a blockchain network, all that you're actually talking about are the computers in that network, right? We aren't doing any of this. I could download it right now. I could download the operating system for the Bitcoin blockchain on this computer right now. I won't do it, but I could do it right now, and I could join that network and be part of this whole process automatically. So now I know that everybody is always worried about hacking, right? Because it's happening all the time, everywhere. So and there is an important point to emphasize in that the blockchain has not been hacked itself, right? Up until now. It could happen in the future. I wouldn't say never, but with that intersection of the blockchain and then actually people trying to use it, that online portal has been hacked. Like Coinbase, Mt. Gox, any of those application portals have been hacked, and I would assume are going to keep being hacked going forward, because those are only as safe as the actual passwords that are being used by the users. So, and again, quick note, public blockchain, which is what it would basically qualify as an open source encrypted Wikipedia, and then the private blockchain, which would be when a business is going to actually set up its own network. Again, these are all just terms and topics that I feel really important and I found to be really helpful as you are trying to introduce these ideas into the classroom. And AI topics to cover, again, just a quick note here, AI is already everywhere, right? It's already in our lives. All of us use it without even knowing it. If any of you have a Echo Dot at home, you have AI at home too. So it's already everywhere. And employers are going to want our students, as they are graduating, to at least have a baseline knowledge of what these things are, right? They don't have to be experts or be coders or be a programmer, but they have to be able to understand, what AI is at a base level. Emphasize the actual pace of AI. I won't dwell on this too much. It's an accounting focused thing, but basically the point is that it's already being used by some of those big employers right here in the city. Now, I know that I only have a few minutes left, so I'm going to have to sort of push this content right here. But again, if there are any questions, come to me after the presentation. Email me. I'm easy to find online or via email. So here's my sort of checklist that I've used both at Lehman and at other places that I've worked on actually how to get this stuff going. Whether it's online or in person, to me, is unimportant. The underlying process isn't going to change, right? So ask for some volunteers. I know that doing stuff on a volunteer basis isn't always going to work. So if you are able to offer any kind of incentive, but partially anything, if you are able to offer anything like that, it'll always help. Make sure that you are up to date as an educator, right? How can we talk about these things if we don't understand them, right? I mean, all of us have to keep ourselves current. Again, important point, focus on those basics, right? Focus on the fundamentals. Again, I'm a CPA, right? I don't know how to code a AI tool. I can use it though, and that's the point. Encourage some group projects and some research, right? Because I'd say with almost absolute confidence that I think most of our students on average may have a idea of what AI is or what a cryptocurrency is, but they haven't actually gone in and actually read about it to understand how it works and then how it all connects. So I think that's an important point. So just some other sort of points on this. They're almost guaranteed that there is somebody at your institution. At Lehman College, that's obviously me. I'm the guy, right? So I'm super interested in this stuff. So then if you have somebody there, go and find him or her, and then have them work on this stuff. It'll take time. It'll be in steps. It'll be 2 steps forward and a 1 step back type thing. That's fine, but you do have to actually get the process going. Encourage faculty education, just a key point here. And if anybody wants these PowerPoint slides, email me. I'll shoot them over your way, no problem. So there are tons of extra resources out there. IBM actually has their own book out, a ebook. It's a 48-page book, and it goes over all of these topics. Super easy to read, and it's available online for free. Build the fundamentals first. If I had to stress one sort of key point here, is to focus on these up front, right? Because you aren't ever going to be able to have those higher level conversations or to actually bring it in at a higher level if you and your students aren't quite sure even what the foundations are. Research projects, I know students always love to write papers, right? And to do work in groups. I know it's a painful process, but it's an important one because right now, nobody has any embedded advantages in this area, right? In AI or in blockchain. All of it is brand new, so 99.9% of people and companies are all starting right here. So if you're able to integrate these topics and ideas into your course and to have your students be actively engaged in that learning process, they're going to actually be 1 step up on the competition. And then the group project thing, again, in the workplace, almost every job is going to be a group-based work. even if you work as a CPA, like I did, a big chunk of your work is actually dealing with other people. So it's important to be able to, one, harness the IT side, and then also to have conversations based on that IT information. And with that, I think I'm going to wrap up. Now, I know we only have a couple minutes, but if there are any jokes, I'm also open to hearing those. Yes, sir, in the back. Sure. So it's going to depend, right? Because the idea of quantum computing is really, I think, totally separate from this. Because all of these platforms and tools, whether it's AI, whether it's a blockchain or a cryptocurrency, all of those operate on the same protocols, right? That have been in place for the last 20 years. Whereas quantum computing really takes computing, it almost turns it into a mini brain. And so then, if that is able to actually be done, and be done in a cost-effective manner, then it's going to have, I think, serious implications for the encryption that is driving all of this. Basically, even though I can't hack a blockchain using a normal computer, if I could do it using a quantum computer, then this whole thing is on its head. Thank you.